And I, Prince Singh, as you know, is your host today. And before we shall move ahead.
Thank you so much, Abhiyan. First of all, let me say that. And thank you so much, everyone, for inviting me to this event. I really am touched with your initiatives and your love towards me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. It is just our pleasure that you have given your time from your busy schedule. So we are almost obliged to you. Okay, so we are going to start our event. So first of all, I welcome everyone, the participants, our chief guest ma'am, and every of the person who has come to witness the event. So first of all, I would like to request all of the participants to please introduce themselves. We will go with the order, and for that I would like to share my screen. Just give me some time. Okay, so I hope the screen is visible and the voice is audible. So first, we started with yes. So first, we will like our participants to introduce themselves. First of all, I request Akanksha Gupta to please give a very short introduction, and you can do it by unmuting your mic.
First of all, I would like to wish ma'am a very happy Teachers' Day to you, ma'am. I'm Akanksha Gupta of BA second year from Allahabad University, and I'm speaking against the motion of the topic. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm Akash Nigam. Yes. I'm Akash Nigam, BA second year, Political Science, Philosophy and Defense Studies, and today I'll speak against the motion, capital punishment should not be abolished.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cadet Akash Ranjan, and I will be speaking for the motion, that is, capital punishment should be abolished. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Akshat Tripathi from BA Part 2nd, Section Z, University of Allahabad. And I am sharing the topic should be abolished. Happy teachers of you. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I am Akshay, and I will be speaking for the motion. And once again, a very happy Teachers' Day to ma'am and also to all my dear batchmates. Thanks a lot.
Hello everyone, I'm Ayushi Pandey from BSc second year and speaking against the motion that death penalty shouldn't be abolished. Wishing you a very happy Teachers' Day, ma'am.
My greetings to you all. Firstly, I would like to wish very happy Teachers' Day to Shivangi ma'am. Today, your presence in this debate competition appreciated all of us for the best performance. Keep your blessings with us. Myself, Jyoti Goswami, student of BA second year of Allahabad University, participating in debate in against the motion. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Cadet Nirav Kumar and I will be speaking against the motion on the given topic.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Praveen Singh of BA second year from Allahabad University. And I wish a very happy Teachers' Day to ma'am and everyone. And I am against the motion. Thank you.
This is Cadet Akash Ranjan.
My name is Rudresh Shukla. My name is Rudresh Shukla. I am student of Allahabad University BA second year and I will speak for the motion of the topic. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. First of all, I wish ma'am a very happy Teachers' Day. My name is Soumya Dubey and I am a student of BSc second year and I am going to speak against the motion that is death penalty shouldn't be abolished.
Well,
Thank you.
there might not be any fixed answer to this
Good
question.
afternoon, everyone. My name is Kumar Shah. I am and I will be speaking against the motion.
It's beyond it. What about the punishment which is not fulfilling its very
A very good afternoon, everyone, and happy Teachers' Day, ma'am. I am Shweta Singh from BA second year, and I am here against the motion of the topic.
And I strongly
Okay, thank you every of the participants. Moving further, we will now see the rules and the format that everyone is expected to follow. So first, let us have a look onto the format. So there will be 3 rounds. Round 1 will be speech round. Round 2 will be contradiction round. Round 3 will be audience round. In round 1, there will be speech round. In this, every individual would have to give a speech of 4 minutes after his or her name is called. Round 2 is the contradiction round, and in this, the person in against can ask questions to person in for and vice versa. And for this, there is just a very normal rule that the person who asks the question or who wishes to ask the question will be given 2 minutes to ask the question, and the one who will be answering the question is also given the same amount of time. In round 3, anyone from the audience can ask question to every individual if they wish so, and the rule is that they only have to ask one question to one participant. So first of all, we will move ahead with the round 1, which is the speech round. So I request Akanksha Gupta to please present her views onto the topic that has been given to her.
I'm Akanksha Gupta, student base second year, section Z from University of Allahabad. Today I am here to speak against the motion of the topic capital punishment should be abolished. Yes, I support the use of capital punishment and believe criminals who commit heinous crimes should be executed through capital punishments. Before starting, I would like to explain what capital punishment is. It is actually the death penalty given by the government of a country to the person who has committed serious crimes. Crimes that are punishable by death are known as capital crimes, commonly including serious crimes just like the murder, mass murder, aggravated cases of rapes, terrorism, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocides, etc. Law always presents criminals time and opportunity to reform so that they can become better human beings. However, repeating offenders, for example, child molesters, murderers, and serial killers, etc., have already proven by their action that they are not humans. Such a human individual do not deserve to be protected under any human rights or laws. They are not worthy of living in the civilized society. In fact, such hardcore criminals are a threat to the society. Many times the crimes committed by these criminals do not get proven in the court. As a result, they are acquitted. They get off scot-free because of lack of evidence, and once they are out, they continue with their criminal activities in full swing. That some criminals are beyond reformation and rehabilitation. Most important point that 55 countries retain capital punishment. Over 60% of the world's population live in countries where the death penalty is still retained, such as China, India, US, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Taiwan, etc. And the most important point that I think is death penalty is reserved for the most reprehensible crimes. It acts as a deterrent to would-be criminals. In the end, knowing that the most severe punishment awaits them will be a warning to the other criminals. They are forced to think about the consequences of their actions even before they commit crime. This would save many lives, including the life of a would-be criminal. If capital punishment would be abolished, other criminals will feel free to do such things in future, which is unacceptable. I would like to conclude by saying that the execution of a hardcore criminal is the best way to provide closure to the family of their victims. They can finally be at peace that the perpetrator is not walking freely amongst the innocent and oblivious public looking for the next target. And that's all my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Akanksha. You very well expressed your opinions and views about the topic that was given to you. Now I request Akash
that capital punishment should not be understood as an eye for an eye, but in its refined form as public denunciation of crime. So I believe that death penalty should not be abolished, as in India, capital punishment is only awarded in extreme circumstances, including homicide. India is one of the 8 countries which permit capital punishment in extreme circumstances. Since independence, hitherto only 752 executions have taken place, which is just a minuscule fraction of the people who were awarded death penalty by the trial courts. So there are proper checks and balances in it. And in Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab 1980, the Apex Court of India laid down this rarest of the rare doctrine. So, and gave some grounds on which it can be determined whether a case falls into the category of rarest of the rare or not. And in India, rarest of the rare doctrine is used for granting capital punishment for heinous crimes. And in section 354(3) of the Criminal Procedure Code 1970, the courts are required to state the reasons in writing for awarding the capital punishment. The second principle is obtained that incapacitation and deterrence are the most important objectives of the capital punishment. As incapacitation is imposed on monstrous criminals or terrorists, as capital punishment is the most extreme form of incapacity, since it implies taking the life of the offender to ensure that she does not reoffend. Also, when it comes to deterrent, a renowned jurist, Sir James Stephen, gave a statement in this regard that some men probably abstain from homicide because they fear that if they committed murder, they would be hanged. And Lord Macaulay, who drafted the Indian Penal Code, writes, if the law hangs for murder and incarcerates for gang and robbery and rape, it holds a strong deterrence to those of offenders so that they can spare the life of the victim they might have killed. So experts consulted on this facet, including judges and advocates, were of the view that deterrent object of capital punishment is achieved in a fair measure in India. Also, the Apex Court of India cited a study by Isaac Ehrlich published in 1975, which found a unique deterrent effect of executions on murder. It claimed that each execution saved up to 8 innocent lives. The Apex Court gave it extensive value in Bachchan Singh's case. Moreover, statistics of other countries are inconclusive on the subject. If they are not regarded as proving the deterrent effect, so neither they can be regarded as conclusively disproving it. So there is a substantial body of opinion to state that the penalty acts as a deterrent. And also, the last point I'll say that retribution is also an important justification for capital punishment, as many thinkers believe that the state came into existence as a result of a collective consent. And if someone violates this collective conscience, we have to punish the offender to reinforce the society's belief in this set of collective conscience. So it asserts punishing persons who deserve unpleasant consequences on account of some wrongful act that they intentionally and willingly did. It advocates the appropriate level of punishment for the offender's conduct. So, as Apex Court ruled in Dina versus Union of India, that the retribution involved in tit for tat or an eye for an eye has no place in the scene of civilized jurisprudence. It is the condemnation of the offender's actions. And as International Covenant of Social and Political Rights in its right to physical integrity affirmed, nation's right to award capital punishment if the due process of law is followed, and when the safety and security of the citizens and the unity, sovereignty and integrity of the nation are of the paramount importance, I believe it is perhaps for this reason past has provided for death penalty.
Thank you, Akash. Now moving further, I would like to request Akash Ranjan to please initiate with your speech.
Hello, audible?
Yes, Akash, you
are. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So before I start, I would like to ask a simple question, that what's the meaning of justice? Well, its meaning is not well defined and cannot be defined in a sentence or so. But we can definitely say that it's not only to fulfill the retributive purpose. Glitch nahi ho rahi hai na awaaz mein, barish aa gayi actually. Okay. So now when we talk about that, when the capital punishment is used to urge the quest of vengeance among the people, it does not fulfill the real meaning of justice. The same thing is happening in the case of capital punishment, ladies and gentlemen. So today I'll be talking about for the motion, and I strongly support that capital punishment should be abolished. Now when I say that capital punishment should be abolished, I say it for a reason. Well, in the next 4 minutes I'll be talking about 5 reasons why it should be abolished. And starting from the argument number 1, that capital punishment does not fulfill its very purpose. Well, as many advocates who support the capital punishment, they say that it creates a deterrence effect. I say that, okay, well, we go through the facts and figures, we come to know that the many countries where the capital punishment has already been abolished, there we have seen the decrease in the crime rates. And on the other hand, the countries with strict capital punishment, there is a hype in the crime rates. Such countries include our own country as well, USA, China, and of course Pakistan. Now, we well know that capital punishment is not creating deterrence, which it was thought of. Now, let's come to the second argument. That is, capital punishment criminalizes a state. We should ask a question that why should a state get involved in criminalizing itself? When the divine judicial system, which represents our country, punishes a criminal in the same way that he has committed a crime, it does not fulfill its very same purpose. Regarding, it violates the mother of all the rights, that is our fundamental rights, that is right to life. And moreover, there are some other ways as well that we will be discussing later on. Now, talking about third argument, that is, capital punishment put the society at unrest. Well, when the capital punishment becomes a method to urge, to fulfill the urge of revenge among the people, it creates a society and puts it on into the unrest situation, and where a lot of political interest come into the role of play, and where it does not fulfill its main criteria of fulfilling the justice. Justice is not about a tit for tat. It is not about fulfilling the urge of vengeance. It is about the fulfilling its main aim, that is to provide justice. And okay, so now let's come to the fourth point, that is, fairness of trial is the real deterrence effect. While going through the data, we come to know that of all the capital punishment cases, around 75% of cases are of scheduled tribes and of Dalits. Scheduled tribes and Dalits. Well, this data itself shows that among the people who are most deprived, one, they are given death penalty, and on the other hand, the people who are politically powerful, these people, after committing crimes one after another, it does not they don't get the punishment. So according to me, it is not about having a strict punishment into our pocket that creates a deterrence effect, but it's about the fairness of the crime and the speediness of the trial through the process, like special fast track court system in place. So this creates the real deterrence. Now let's come to the last point, that is, capital punishment is irreversible. I would like to give an example of the UK, where two innocents were given capital punishment, and after that the capital punishment was abolished from the UK that time. Well, it is completely irreversible, unlike the other punishments where where for the wrong punishment, state can later on give compensation. Once a person is dead, he cannot be compensated afterwards. So in this way as well, and even the judges are also humans, there are chances of error. Even after a case when goes to the curative petition, after a court has already sentenced a person for death penalty, there have been findings where there are errors during the trials. So there are chances of error, and the main motive of justice in itself says that an innocent person should not get punishment after all. Now, before ending my words, I would like to say that let's phase out this old system, which is similar to that of guillotine, and let's bring out a new system which is in congruence with the current social order and is more civilized in nature. If the society is also moving towards a punishment-based society to a reform-based society, and I think now is the time to phase out the death penalty and bring out some more efficient method of punishing, which is more efficient and which fulfills the need of justice. That's all, friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Akash, for expressively presenting your views.
Because if only one person is unmuted at a time, then the voice will be more clear. So kindly mute yourself when another person is speaking.
Okay, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will express my views in favor of the motion, capital punishment should be abolished. First of all, I deeply condemn all sorts of crime against humanity and our society, but death penalty or capital punishment cannot be solution of crimes. Basically, capital punishment means the officially authorized execution of the death penalty on persons determined by appropriate legal procedures who have committed a criminal offense. It is a way to punish the most heinous crimes. But a serious question arises: which criminal offense in today's modern society warrant the death penalty? And the answer to this is not definite, and it is rather subjective because it varies from country to country. Capital punishment is impossible to administer fairly, rationally, and with virtuousness. The Supreme Court has repeatedly admitted that it has arbitrarily imposed this most extreme punishment. Executions occurred in 5.2 cases for every 1 lakh murders. Such a selection can't be a free case. It depends overwhelmingly on the adjudicator's personal beliefs. Abolitionist presidents like Dr. Radhakrishnan and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam refused to reject mercy petitions, while others, differently inclined, readily denied clemency. Should the killing of a human being depend on the philosophy of a particular individual? Between January 1st, 2000 and June 31st, 2015, the Supreme Court imposed 60 death sentences. It subsequently admitted that it had erred in 15 of them, which was almost 25%. Can this system be trusted to take a life, and that too based on evidence collected or fabricated by a police force not known for its probity and efficiency? Punish. Yet, but why in the same cold-blooded and brutal manner as the prisoner killed his or her victim? Punishment should not imitate crime. We do not rape rapists or maim and disfigure those who have done this to others. Why do we have to kill killers? If an eye for an eye, the whole world will be blind. It is not proven that killing murderers stops other people's committing similar crimes. Mistakes are sometimes made in the law. What if someone is killed who is actually innocent? You cannot compensate the victim. Sometimes there is a lot of pressure on judges, media trial and all, and based on just circumstantial evidence, judges sentence the person death penalty, which may not be judicious judgment because any accused is guilty if proven and not the other way round. In many cases, people were executed after being convicted in grossly unfair trials on the basis of torture, tainted evidence, and with inadequate legal representation. In some countries, death sentences are imposed as the mandatory punishment for certain offenses, meaning that judges are not able to consider the circumstances of the crime or of the defendant before sentencing. Sometimes racial discrimination also occurs while sentencing death sentence to offender. The death penalty has not deterred terrorism, murder, or even theft. It is not an effective deterrent. Any other alternative, sanction of life or long-term prison. For over a century, stealing attracted the death penalty in England, where spectators at public hangings often had their pockets picked. Capital punishment is actually expensive than keeping an inmate in prison even for life. It is required for an appeal of death sentence of an offender for maintaining security of persons, etc. In the countries where capital punishment has been abolished, there is no evidence today that there has been a significant and permanent increase in homicidal crimes as a result of abolition. In many, there has in fact been a decrease. The experience of these countries indicates that the death penalty need not necessarily be a deterrent. Further, there is no convincing proof that capital punishment is a better deterrent than any other form of punishment. In today's modern society, where we all talk about human rights, it will be argued that it is a barbaric and degrading to sentence another man to death. It violates the sanctity of life and stands morally condemned. The duty of society is to redeem the offender and not eliminate him. Jeremy Bentham has quoted that error is possible in all judgments. In every other case of judicial error, compensation can be made to the injured person. Death admits of no compensation. Thank you all for listening. Have a nice day.
Next participant we have is Akshay Pratap Singh. I would like to request him to please present his views.
Okay. So darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do so. As rightly said by Martin Luther King Jr. An eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. This is the quote of our own father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji. Good afternoon everyone. I am Akshay and I will be speaking strictly for the motion, that is, the death penalty should be abolished. Now, first of all, what's the most fundamental and sole purpose of the death penalty? Of course, it is for deterring the crime in the society, inflicting fear in the minds of the people who may commit a crime in future. But has it proved fruitful? The answer is an absolute no. None of the studies, and most important, our long history has proved this fact. According to the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 65 of 2006, it categorically stated that there is no conclusive evidence of the deterrent value of the death penalty. Now, second point, risk of the executing of the innocent people due to the miscarriage of the judgment. Now, there are so many examples of the people who have been found innocent years after they were executed. Now, who is going to take the responsibility of these people? The state, and in some cases, the military apologize for this. But do you think this apology and this compensation is going to compensate the life of a person? As Charles Dickens rightly said in his book, that is Oliver Twist, he said, "What a fine punishment is capital punishment. Dead men never repent. Dead men never bring awkward stories to light." Now let's talk about some of the legal aspects. Now, there is no such thing as legitimate hanging or a legal murder. A killing or a murder is still a murder. It's only legal in the eyes of the murderer. The execution is just an avenged killing, and it should have no place in the modern society. Now let's talk about some of the cases of the India, or the perspective of the India. Now, data represented at the national consultation and submitted to the Law Commission of India in response to the public consultation. The picture of inconsistent, arbitrary, and just-centric application of death penalty has been proved. So how can we give death penalty on the basis of the arbitrariness and the just-centric judgments? Now, the justification of the punishment using society's cry for justice does not fit into the conception of the retribution as punishment deserved by the offender. Now, the retribution does not provide any guidance in relation to the question of how much to punish or to how approximate the punishment should be. It is just based solely on the judgment of the judges and solely on judgment of the president. It depends on their ideologies. Now, the capital punishment cannot be justified in a retributive system of the criminal justice. Now, there is no evidence of a link between fighting insurgency, terror, or violent crime and the need for the death penalty. So why should we continue it? Now let's come to the final conclusion. Now someone was talking about the theory of incapacitation. Okay, let's talk about it. Now the theory of incapacitation advocates dealing with offenders in such a way that they are not in a position to re-offend or to commit the crime again. It is generally used as a justification to impose longer sentences on repeated offenders, dangerous criminals, and career criminals. Now, executing the criminals on the ground of incapacitation completely negates the possibility of reformation, which remains an important penological consideration in India. Now, death penalty is an excessive punishment when used for the incapacitation, since the incapacitation functions can be achieved by life imprisonment too, and this has been proved. And there is a proper survey, there is a proper data available for this. Now, when the motive of the incapacitation functions can be achieved by life imprisonment as much as execution, so why there is a need of taking life of a person? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, here we are talking about taking life of a person. Now, some people give the argument that the criminal committed the crime. If he does not adhere to the rights, then why should we? Now, I would like to ask them a simple question. If he would have been aware of the rights, if he would have been so moral, then why he would have committed the crime? Now, you want the state to do the same, to do the avenge killing. Is the state in the condition of the criminal? Can we contrast the criminal's ideology with the state's ideology? Of course not. State is of sound mind. People of the state are of sound mind. And the authority who is governing the state is of sound mind. They cannot avenge the killing. This is not the right form of the justice. So with all these factors, I would like to strictly oppose the death penalty. And in a modern society where we are following the reformation theories, we should strictly remove this theory of punishment, this method of punishment, that is the death capital. Thanks a lot and have a nice day.
Please present your views to all of us.
According to 2021 Least Crime Rate Index, the top ranked countries were Taiwan, Japan, and Singapore. What do these countries have in common? They retain their rights to execute criminals in accordance to the gravity of offense. Hello everyone, it's Ayushi Pandey speaking strongly against the motion that death penalty should be abolished. Talking about death penalty, it's applied as an exceptional penalty of state-sanctioned killing of a person who does a heinous crime that shakes the conscience of humanity and nation's peace or its global dignity. Considering death penalty globally, its constitutionality has been upheld in liberal democracy of US and other countries like China, Singapore, and India. Talking about death penalty in India, it's awarded for the rarest of rare cases. The Penal Code of India contains certain provisions where death penalty exists, namely Section 121, Waging of War, Section 134, Abatement of Mutiny, Section 194, False Evidence Against Innocent, Section 302, 303, 301 associated with murder attempts and in cases of some rape. Now, I'm not here to convince anyone to favor death penalty, but to ensure that the criminal gets punished in accordance to the atrocity of the crime and the defenseless state of victim. In India, there is an urgent need of death penalty, as noted by the Law Commission itself, because India is a country prone to several terror attacks, and abolition of death penalty will result in increase of threats from international terror organizations. And death penalty forms a part of national response to such cases. For example, the hanging of Afzal Guru, Ajmal Kasab, and Yaqub Menon strongly affirmate India's concern to it. Talking about accuracy, in India, the process of capital punishment is long and provides ample amount of time to convict to prove his innocence. And if he or she is awarded with the death penalty, even after the refusal of pardon request from the president, it ensures the accuracy of justice provided. Can we think of a disease cured until the last virus of it has been removed from the body? No. Similarly, how can we let these offenders survive? Keeping him or her in prison is an option, but it would not make potential crimes afraid of the consequences, as living in prison is still living a life even after taking away someone else's. And also, there is no need to waste nation's wealth on such people committing such well-planned, deliberate, and heinous crimes. Lastly, capital punishment provides closer to victim's family. Think of a father who loved his daughter more than anything and everything, and lost her to a criminal who raped her and killed her mercilessly. Would he not try anything to criminal pay for to what he did? He should. Hence, the only way to bring closer to such people is death penalty. For example, in the very famous case of Nirbhaya, the victim's mother fought for complete 8 years, and lastly, the criminals were awarded to be hanged. This restored the faith of the nation in the effectiveness and the legal system of our judiciary. We have seen everyone talking about the right to life, but let's not forget that right comes with duties. In fact, duties before rights. And those who take away this beautiful gift of life from somebody, maybe he or she equally deserve to be punished. Conclusively, I would end by quoting some lines. It's a plea of public to the people in power. Something has to be done without wasting an hour. The countryman's sacrifice for the country shouldn't go in vain, and the one causing the attack should be given the same pain. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayushi, for expressing your
Good afternoon to the Honorable Chief Guest, Shivangi ma'am, my worthy opponents, and the audience present over here. This is Jyoti Goswami in front of you all, presenting my views in against the motion of capital punishment should be abolished. In this glorious age of 21st century, many issues are boiling and are unresolved. One of the most debatable issues in capital punishment, when we read the reference of developed countries like China and Iran, who had abolished the capital punishment, and 106 countries have completely abolished death penalty. 8 countries have abolished it for ordinary crimes. It seems really good. But unlike India, still practicing capital punishment is going through a more debatable issue. Many abolitionists believe in reformative theory of punishment and trying to impose it on the law. But what do I believe is no theory is perfect in itself. We can't completely ignore the retributive theory to establish an idealistic reformative society. In practicality, eye for an eye is a natural sentiment of any human. When a family witnesses the threatening situation of his dear ones to whom is murdered or raped in a very brutal manner, they desire the same to be happen with the offender. I would like to respond some arguments expressed by my opponents. People are arguing that awarding death penalty to an accused is immoral. To respond this is however in a so real argument as keeping one person alive at the cost of the lives of numerous numbers of potential victims in the society is unimaginable, and in fact that is immoral. You people are talking about human rights of an accused person. To respond it is paradoxical to render human rights to convicts who do not have an ounce of humanity left in them. This is especially true in case of criminals who cannot be reformed. The brutal, heinous crimes committed by these criminals do not endow them with a right to live a life while putting innocent people at risk. A beast never deserves the human rights. In opposition, people are saying that death penalty should be abolished as the state has no right to take away the life of an individual, the life that was endowed by God. Don't you think that a person who is taking away others' life voluntarily, which was also endowed by the God, should be punished? Mercy to an accused will be injustice with the victims and the society. The most prevailing argument that capital punishment is not serving its sole purpose and not making any deterrence in the society. Here my question is, why death penalty is not effective in society today? The focus should be on why it is not making deterrence. If we are talking about China, North Korea like countries, if 1,000 people are sentenced to death in 1 year, then they must get executed every year. The only countries that do not disclose their record and data of execution. But if we talk in context of India, the statistical data shows that from 1991 to 2020, total 30 executions have taken place. Means that if we take an average then 1 person per year, that proves that state is not killing but doing justice with the society. After Bachan Singh case, Supreme Court said that capital punishment should be given in rarest of rare case, and this made a very long process for execution of an offender. We have a very recent example of Nirbhaya case, which took late 5 years because of mercy petition. Unfortunately, in India, this was the most fast trial case. I don't know how it is a fast trial, as it took 7 years, but it was set. How this will make deterrence? Not only this, there are cases pending from more than 30 years for execution in India, and we are saying that it is not making deterrence. We need to reform the criminal justice system. First, I would like to give my views. We have to make the fast resolution of cases. Proper evidence should be tested, so that no innocent get punished. We also need to work at ground level with the police department reforms. Proper education should be given, and the offender who commits such heinous crimes are punishable with death. They do not deserve a chance to reform. Proper implementation should also be there to create a deterrence. To conclude, death penalty is a requirement in the contemporary society where each man stands for himself. The state cannot compromise the lives of hundreds and thousands of innocent persons only for the life of one convict, even who does not deserve to live among a society of civilized persons. After the best reforms, in future, we may replace the capital punishment with life imprisonment. But in current situation, analyzing the lagging consensus of Indian criminal justice system and the loopholes present in our system, capital punishments should not be abolished. That's all my case. Thank you.
Opinions on the topic that's been given.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. From the speeches that were given before me, it is quite clear that we all are aware of what is death penalty and what role it has to play in the law system of any country. So, moving on to the debate, if I were asked that, in my opinion, why I support death penalty in 3 words, then I would say they deserve it. Yes, you heard it right, they deserve it. There are some criminals who do not deserve to live in the society where we live. Since long, societies have always used punishments to discourage the future criminals from doing unlawful activities. And since the society has the highest interest in preventing such crimes, so why can't it use the strongest punishment available to deter such crimes? And if these murderers, rapists are sentenced to death and executed, and such potential ideologies may be suppressed. Some may question that even if the deterrence level is good enough, but it still needs to be abolished. Then what I feel from them is they value the life of such convicted criminals more than the life of victims who might be spared from such prospective murderers. The criminals should get what they deserve in proportion to the severity of the crime that have been done by them, and in that case, criminals involved in heinous, cold-blooded crimes must be hanged to death. And some of my worthy co-opponents may still question that, what about some of the innocents being granted the death penalty? So I would like to say that this is the rarest of the rare cases, and since after number of increased safeguards have improved and appeals were added to the death penalty system, it has been minimized. And in case of some criminals, the technology has evolved so far that the case of means we cannot question the innocence of the accused. And if some improvements still need to be added in the system, then the reforms must be instituted. But abolishing the death penalty is not a proper solution, I believe. And given that our thorough system of appeals through numerous states, high courts, and the proper trials, the granting death penalty to an innocent is almost impossible in today's state. Now, let me take the example of our own country, India. Since 2000, we have had 8 executions so far, some of whom was Afzal Guru, who was involved in the 2001 parliamentary attack, then of Ajmal Kasab, Yaqub Mehman, again who were involved in terrorist attacks, and which killed many innocent lives and had many casualties. So in short, death penalties are used in the worst of the worst cases when extreme steps needed to be taken. And it's not like that the court grants death penalty to any kind of crime. So it depends on the severity of the crime that have been committed. And as per the section 354 of CRPC 1973, the courts are required to state reasons in writing for awarding the maximum penalty. And despite a global moratorium against the death penalty by the United Nations, our country is of the view that allowing criminals guilty of having committed intentional, cold-blooded, deliberate and brutal crimes like bomb blast, if they escape with a lesser punishment, it will deprive the law of its effectiveness and result in travesty of justice. I repeat, it will deprive the law of its effectiveness and result in travesty of justice. Lastly, I feel that death penalty is like an eye for an eye. It is reserved for heinous crimes. Why should such criminals be allowed to live out the rest of their lives in relative comfort at the expense of the taxpayers' money? Imagine it may be the money of those taxpayers whose close relatives might have been victims of the Bombay blast or taken any crime. Why would the law want them to continue to house, clothe and feed them for remaining life at the expense of taxpayers' money? And many of my political opponents ask the right to life of these criminals. So I will have to tell them that they gave up their right to life when they killed millions, when they killed innocents, they gave their right to life. And finally, when my political opponents speak of human rights for such criminals who have committed such inhuman crimes, it does not make sense to me. That was my speech. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Nero. The speech was so fair.
Hello.
Hello, I am Praveen. I am against the motion, and I'd like to start by thank you everyone. Uh, my points on why the capital punishment not not to be abolished are: first, the capital punishment is not an arbitrary because it comes out of a judicial process. Second, it may be said that capital punishment is constitutionally valid. In case of Rajendra Prasad versus State of Uttar Pradesh, Krishna Iyer Justice said that death penalty directly affects the life of the people guaranteed under the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. But it has been provided by the law and there is nothing like due in Article 21. Therefore, it is valid. Now, moving to the next point, in India, deciding the case for death penalty is based on doctrine of rarest of the rare test stated in the case of Bachchan Singh versus the state of Punjab. Now, I would like to ask my worthy opponents a question that instead of death penalty, what would have been the best way of delivering justice in recent cases, which I am going to put forward before you. Case 1. Sushil Murmu versus State of Jharkhand. A young girl of only 9 years was sacrificed before Goddess Kali by the appellant for his own prosperity is what the prosecution alleges. The Supreme Court awarded death penalty to the accused. Was the Supreme Court verdict wrong and how? Case 2. What happened on December 16, 2012? On that dark and cold night, Jyoti Singh, a 23-year-old young female physiotherapy intern, was brutally assaulted and raped in a moving bus in South Delhi. Those 6 men who not only took away the life, the career, her friends, her family, members, everything, but also the life of her family. And according to my opponents, capital punishment be abolished. Please tell me if they, being illiterate, immoral, inhumane, can ruin the life of such a girl just for their physical desire and entertainment, then why can't a learned, ethical, educated and wise judge can sentence them to death? If giving verdict of capital punishment is an act of inhuman, then tell me how can a raper or murderer be called human after committing such heinous crime? However, the studies suggest that capital punishment does not reduce the crime. I agree. So, can you show me a report or is there any study that abolishing capital punishment in country like India, where power and politics is often seen to as a source of deep vested interest, will not influx the crime rates? Dear opponents, in place of focusing the abolishing of capital punishment, we need to focus more on the root cause, that why crimes are committed, why rates of crime is increasing. Will abolishing the capital punishment reduce crime rates? Will abolishing the capital punishment improve the society? In my point of view, no, a big no. Just think for a while. Now, I'd like to conclude my speech by moving towards my suggestion regarding capital punishment. Instead of abolishing the capital punishment, why not we come up with steps which can shape our society better, policies, decisions or acts which can tend to make our society, nation, our coming generation more civilized and educated. Some campaigns, some ideas so that our coming generation and present societies can learn better to crystally differentiate between what is ethically, morally, socially, politically good and what is not. And for achieving this, reforms like sex education should be imparted, for which will teach our young generation that how sex is not a source of just entertainment. Also, it will develop their mind. Reforms like parent-teacher meetings should be conducted compulsorily so that both teachers and parents could know better about the child, that in which direction he or she is going, and show them a right path. Suppose I ask everyone who is present here to rape or murder someone. Do you have that guts? Aren't you capable to murder or rape someone? But you will not do so. Why? Not because you are afraid of capital punishment, but because you are morally, ethically aware and developed. That what is right and what is wrong. Just think, if the foundation, which is moral values, virtues and manners, are developed and inculcated properly in the upcoming generations, then after having capital punishment as law, there will be no need of it. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Praveen, for so humbly explaining your points. Next participant we have to speak is Rudre.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to honorable jury, respected listeners and my fellow debaters. Today I, Rudresh Shukla of graduation second year, is going to present my views for the motion of the topic, that is, death penalty should be abolished. As I have a firm belief that death penalty is neither a complete justice nor a solution. All it provides is a sense of retribution from an ever-ending problem. And only punishing an offender is not a justice to sufferer. It is only a necessity for the society. It means you are only taking advantage of the case to terrify the upcomers. We all know one thing. Taking a human life is immoral and it is not a conditional sentence. Executions may have corrupting effect on public. Some people found it entertaining. Death penalty gives some of the worst offenders and their bad work publicity, which they do not deserve. Death penalty is an expression of absolute power of state, which is not good for any form of government. We cannot even make it a case of rarest of the rare, because taking a human life is too serious matter to be left over judges or lawyers. This is something which we as a society needs to discuss and parliament needs to address. We can't left life of individual on personal perception of jurists, which may differ by jurist to jurist. Idea of rarest of the rare can make it discriminatory, racial, biased, and etc. Everybody should have right to life, but the condition must be the reflection of his work. I would like to tell you that it is not law which makes a society civic, but it's the people living in it which make it so. No study has shown that death penalty deters crime more than life imprisonment. And life imprisonment without privileges and facilities and without parole become worst of all kind of punishments. So, by abolishing death penalty, we could focus our time, energy and resources on supporting victims and the families harmed by violence, which have been marked secondary by the retributive society. If a person knows that for his crime he is not going to be hanged at once, rather he would have to spend remaining life in jail, dying every second of his life, he would return even if he have gone halfway. Execution is the ultimate, irrevocable, irreversible punishment. The risk of executing an innocent person can never be eliminated. As we all know, an eye for an eye would lead the whole world monocular. Retribution is not a solution, but making people repent and reformation is. I am opposing death penalty because it is against humanity. Let it be for the society or let it be for anyone's personal welfare. At last, I would like to declare that it is always going to be a matter of debate till we actually abolish the death penalty. It is just like achieving the ultimate truth. Thank you all. Thank you.
Before all of us for opinions.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Every sin brings its punishment with it. I think everyone present here accepts it as a universal teaching, as we all have been taught from our childhood that wrong acts are never acceptable in our society, and one or the other day, the person who has committed it will be punished. So now I would like to connect these thoughts of mine with the main topic, that is death penalty shouldn't be abolished. As we all know that in our society, number of crimes takes place and number of punishments are fixed for those. But there are some serious and heinous crimes whose level of severity and brutality are inevitable. So my friends who say that it should not be given as death penalty is not correct, I would like to say to them that number of rape cases takes place in our society with our women, with the girl child, but not in every case the accused has been given death penalty. Only after a long struggle in 2012 Nirbhaya case, the accused were hanged. So we all know that death penalty is not a very light punishment. Obviously, it takes a life of a person, but it passes through a number of processes. There are sufficient layers of appeals before taking this final decision. Even the accused has been given a power of appeal, review, and mercy plea. As we know that after the session court has awarded the death sentence, it has to be confirmed by the High Court. Even after that, the accused has the option to move to Supreme Court, and after that, under Section 172, the accused can move to the President for the mercy petition. So it's not only that that is kept in mind that the justice should be given to the victim. It is also been taken utmost care that not unjust should happen with the accused. Like in the case of state of UP versus MK Anthony, where the accused had killed his wife as she was suffering from ailment, and due to poverty reasons, he was not financially well. To make her free from that ailment. So after that, he killed his 2 children. So in that case, he was given life imprisonment, not death penalty. And from the NCRB report, it was there, like from 2004 to 2013, 1,033 death sentences were awarded, but only 4 were executed. So from this, we conclude that extreme caution and care is taken while giving the death sentences. Obviously, after that, we are taking the life of a person. So, according to me, I don't think so that the death penalty should be abolished. And it's a very clear fact that when the death penalty is in action in India, after that, the crimes are taking place. So, of course, we can imagine a situation when this law will be abolished. And in the garb of human right of accused, we cannot ignore the human right of the victim. And the one who advocate that we should keep in mind the human rights of the accused, I would like to say that while the right to life may be respected and protected, at the same time, the integrity and security of the citizen should also be kept in mind. And hence, according to me, of course, the death penalty should find place in our penal laws to have a deterrent effect to the persons who are even planning to commit such crime. And at the end, I would like to conclude it with a quote that if he who breaks the law is not punished, he who obeys is cheated. Thank you all for lending me your ears. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
His opinions.
Am I audible?
Yes, Shubham, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, honorable juries, respected teachers, and my fellow competitors. This is Shubham Jha from Bihar, and I am going to light my views on supporting to the motion that is death punishment should be abolished. As my fellow competitors already explained what is death punishment, however, I would like to give a short intro of death punishment. Death punishment refers to a practice where a person is killed by state as a punishment for a crime. Why I am against the death punishment? There are some reasons. I have about 5 or 6 reasons which will lead me to be against the death penalty. My first argument is death penalty is not deterrent. While a death penalty is seen as a deterrent, there is no study or report that proved this, as many crimes take place in the heat of moment Even Law Commission of India also admitted that death punishment should be abolished as it is not deterrent. My second argument is two wrong can't be right. If killing a person is wrong, then killing an offender in the name of punishment is also wrong, and two wrong can't be right. According as our Bapu said, an eye for an eye, this concept will make the world blind. My third argument is law is welfare for humans. Law is for the welfare of human beings. I accept by punishing a criminal is also welfare of society, but we can't ignore the fact that that criminal also have right to life, and by killing him in the name of punishment, it is violation of his right. As Lord Buddha says, any punishment should aim to eliminate the sin, not the sinner. And as APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab said, we all are creation of God, and I am not sure that a human system created by human beings is competent to take away the life of individual based on artificial and created evidence. My fourth argument is psychological argument. It is scientifically proved that those persons who really execute have to face psychological trauma in aftermath. And in India, where a long executing process followed, criminal has to wait long periods on the death row with uncertainty over the date of their execution. That is bad for their mental health. My fifth argument is economic problem. Everyone talk about it, but I would like to say economic problem is very key feature of death penalty. Those people who can't afford the high fees of well-experienced advocate mostly lose their cases. And sometimes an offender have to crime for their bread. In this situation, it is not his fault. It's government fault. Government should take care about unemployment. My sixth and last argument is victim's family. Killing the offender will not bring peace or joy to the families of those victims. Why I am saying this? Because they will not bring back their loved one who was lost. This extends their pain having to go through the ever long executing process, and yes, of course, this is very costly. In last, I would like to say that life is precious and death is irrevocable. When a death penalty is awarded, it eliminates the scope of improvement, which could lead the change life of individual. If we can't, and last, I would like to quote a quotation: if we can't bring a dead person to life, then we also then don't have the right to deprive a living person of life. That's all, my friend. I would like to end my speech here. Thank you for listening me. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Shubham, for quoting your interpretation about the topic. Last participant that we have to speak is Shweta Singh. I would like her to start her speech.
Thank you, Abhyant. So let's start. As a topic for the debaters, death penalty should be abolished. And yeah, I proudly say that I am against the motion. Ladies and gentlemen, a terrorist who takes and who hurts the sovereignty of my country, who kills people, and he just not have any religion, caste or creed, and he just comes to hurt our national integrity and sovereignty, and death penalty for that terrorist who is hurting the entire essence of my governance, and who is killing people, and who is not differentiating between victims. You want to abolish it for them? I just request, stop defending them. Stop defending them, and please just stop defending them. Once again, I say that death penalty should not be abolished. And I am damn sure that in the end, you will be at my side. And if you are going to say that many countries had abolished it, so just go through the data once again, and then you will come to know that how many people were sentenced to death in those countries, and you can't compare those cases with India's few death penalty cases. Countries with the most death sentences in 2018 were China, 1,000 plus cases, Egypt, 1,717 plus cases, Iraq, 271 plus cases, and Pakistan, 250 plus cases. So they need to bring some new rules and regulations, not India, because we don't have these much cases. And who is the Supreme Court hanging? After having gone through like a tooth comb, after multiple courts have looked at it, and a Supreme Court too has looked at it. The inequality in the application of the death penalty requires its abolition as an argument that will be made only by people who do not like it for other reasons. The inequality argument is a protect, not a reason. Between an inequitable death penalty and no death penalty, I would prefer an inequitable death penalty. Just as I would prefer an inequitable tax system to no tax system and an inequitable policing to no policing. I said this because I think it likely that executions deter murders. And it is clear that a majority of Americans, white and blacks, think that justice requires executions for the most heinous crimes. And capital punishment is allowed under Hindu tradition too, as Lord Rama is the embodiment of dharma. Yet he killed King Bali, who had stolen his own brother's wife. Sometimes I feel that the crimes today are even more heinous than in the past. Hence, capital punishment, if sanctioned by the scriptures, should continue. And do you realize that even the International Convention of Human Rights in Article 62 expressly recognizes a nation's rights to give death sentence? If these facts are not fulfilling, my dear opponents, then please let me tell you, Yaqub was represented by top lawyers, and then only he was sentenced to death. And have you forgotten the very notorious Nirbhaya Kand of 2012? In that case, the people of India, please pay attention. I repeat, I am saying the people of India itself came on roads to demand for the death sentence for the criminals. And that's why I support it, as the people of my dear India support it too. Abolishing the death penalty will only send the wrong message to those who have the predisposition to commit horrible crimes. Those who support the abolition of death penalty should reconsider their stance. The government has a duty to curb crimes, and the laws of the country should be allowed to do so. Thank you so much for paying your attention. Jai Hind.
And first, I would like to request Akanksha, if you have any question to any of the other participants opposing to your motion, you may ask it. Akanksha, do you have any question to ask to anybody?
Sorry, my network was weak, so I was unable to hear you.
Okay.
So I would like to ask a question to Akash Ranjan.
Okay.
May I?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead with that.
Akash, as you already said that giving only death punishment is not deterrent. So do you think that we too become inhuman to give them such punishment that should be deterrent to them?
Excuse me, are you asking about some alternative to death penalty?
No, I'm actually asking that you have said that it's not deterrent to the people. Do you think that we should give them such punishment, that inhuman kind that they had done already, that they did inhuman activity, so we should also do inhuman activity to them.
I'm not saying that we should do inhuman activity to them. What I'm telling is, death penalty till date has not served its purpose. That is to create deterrence. So the main purpose of deterrence is not being fulfilled. So we need to bring about some alternative kind of a thing, which is more effective. And you can ask about alternative, that I can say. So death penalty, when it has not worked, what I mean to say, it is just about tit for tat. It is about it serves the retributive purpose, but it does not work as deterrence. It has not worked as deterrence as it was expected. I'm not telling that we need to do some inhuman. In fact, capital punishment is itself inhuman. So that's what I said.
Okay, that's all.
Okay.
Okay, Akansha, as you have asked one question to one single participant, according to the rule, you won't be allowed to ask one question to any other participant. So we would like to move ahead to the other participant, who is Akash Nigam. I would request him to ask his question to anybody whom he feels fine. The condition is that the person must be in opposite motion.
Thank you, Abhin. So my question is to Akshat Tripathi. Akshat, you mentioned that how a person's life can be based on a particular individual's philosophy, and you mentioned about the president. So I believe that death penalty imposed by the trial court is subjected to the confirmation by the High Court, and the accused can file a review petition, subsequently the curative petition, the mercy plea before the president. So are you saying that all these authorities working at the apex level are oblivious of the right enjoyed by the accused person? Akshat.
Yes, I had said that how should the killing of a person depend on the philosophy of a particular individual. So basically, that you had mentioned that the case for death penalty goes in a hierarchical form, from session courts to higher courts to high courts to Supreme Court, and then review petition and then mercy petition. But as we all know, that every form of judicial system, whether it may be in India or in any other state or country, the public pressure or the trial conducted by media or the pressure whom exerted on the judges by their subjects play a major role in determining the punishment. There are many cases. For example, there are 1 lakh murders, but 5.2 cases. Among 1 lakh, 5.2 cases only serve for death penalty. How a fair selection among 1 lakh from 1 lakh to 5.2 is possible? It clearly indicates that it is depending on it is depending on the views of adjudicators. As I mentioned that some presidents hesitated to reject the mercy plea, like Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, while others rejected the mercy petition in a very first go. So it is clearly indicating that philosophical basis is philosophical basis of an individual may serve as a basis for the sentencing of a death penalty or capital punishment.
Okay, Akshat, you have reached your time limit. Now we have to ask his question to anybody who feels fine.
I have a question to Jyoti that she mentioned about Nirbhaya case. Firmly, there are many cases of rape in India which are countless, and I deeply condemn all of them. But how a selection can be possible that only Nirbhaya case served for a death penalty, not other cases? Why? What is the basis of the heinosity of a crime?
Okay, what I said is that Nirbhaya case took 5 years late because of mercy petition that we have in our criminal justice system that I mentioned. And I was mentioning that we have the equity of checks and balances so that no innocent can get the capital punishment. That's all my view. And what you are asking, I'm not getting your point. Please, would you repeat? Hello? I'm not audible?
Yeah, you are audible. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Abhyant, is it right that I repeat my question?
Yes, actually, you can.
Okay. So, Jyoti, you and many other competitors from your side shared their views that Nirbhaya case. Firstly, I say that I deeply condemns all sorts of crimes against women and against humanity. You said that Nirbhaya case. Nirbhaya case,
Actually, you have exceeded your time limit. We will invite Adash Ranjan to ask his question to any of his opponent.
Okay, so as Sweta has mentioned that, firstly, I'll be asking the question to Sweta, and I'll be asking not with the perspective of India, but perspective of global. Okay. So, as she mentioned that in countries like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan, the number of death penalty cases are very large as compared to our own country. And she also said that there is a need to bring some change about in these countries, not in India. So what changes according to her should be brought in those countries, and what is the problem in the status quo situation right now in those countries?
Okay, Akash. So let me answer you. So what I think that what changes they may can have in their country. So according to me, they can have long-term cases like as in India we have fast trial courts. They can have long-term trial courts because they are hanging many people per year. As I have given example, China 1,000 plus cases means. They should do something for this. Means, according to our country, as we see in India, there are many things like life imprisonment. That's the one thing. I think they should do something more for that. Means they should opt for life imprisonment too. Means giving death penalty to as a big number. I think it's too much now. That's why I said that. And if we talk about India. So in India, we don't have these much cases, like 1,000 plus. Okay. So as we have fast trial courts and, in such cases where there is death penalty sentence, how much time they took. We have the example of Nirbhaya Kand, as Jyoti has mentioned it. It took 7 years. So I think for India, we don't need that death penalty should be abolished. It should be there, according to me. Thank you.
Okay, as the time limit has exceeded now, I would like to request Akshay to ask his question to his opponent.
Okay, Abhyant, I would like to clear one thing, that am I eligible to ask one question each from all of my opponent?
Well, you can ask one question to one single participant.
Yeah.
You wish, but the condition is that the person must be against your motion.
Okay. So let's get started. My first question is for Akash Nigam. My question is, Akash, how can we believe in some specious doctrine of rarest of the rare, which is backed by no scientific and factual data? It is just solely based on the judges and also on the judicial system. It is they who decide what is the rarest of the rare case. Akash.
Yes, Akshay. I believe that rarest of the rare doctrine laid down by the apex court of India in Bachchan Singh's case, that they gave enough grounds, not scientific, because everything can't be based on empirical data. They gave enough grounds. So first ground, let me tell you, was the manner of commission of murder, and all these grounds are particularly seen when the court or judge awards a capital punishment. So first is the manner of commission of crime. Second is motive for the commission of murder, when the total depravity and cruelty are the motives behind a murder. Third is also the socially abhorrent nature of the crime. Fourth, the magnitude of the crime. Fifth, the personality of the victim of the murder. And also, there are some aggravating circumstances and there are some mitigating circumstances. All these grounds are seen when a person is awarded, an accused person is awarded a capital punishment. Also, the section 354(3) of the Criminal Procedure Code of 1976, that courts are required to state the reasons in writing for awarding capital punishment. The accused gets enough safeguard to save themselves. For example, they can file review petition. All these things, mercy plea, curative petitions, these are enough grounds to state that the judgment of the judge is not arbitrary. I believe. Akshay.
Okay, so my second question is from Ayushi Pandey. Ayushi, I would like to ask you that, let's suppose, yeah?
You can ask one question to one single participant.
Okay, so that's what I was clearing. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's fine. Moving ahead, we have Ayushi Pandey. Ayushi, you can ask your question to your opponent.
My only question is to Akshay. Akshay, you said that judges judge in response of their ideologies. So are you questioning the Indian Penal Code and the laws of Constitution?
Look, Ayushi, they are always the miscarriages of the judgment, and we have firmly seen in our Indian judicial system that the mercy petition totally depends on the ideology of the president. The last ad hoc for the criminal, the last option for the criminal is in the hands of the president, and it totally depends on the ideology of the president to grant mercy or to grant him the death penalty. So yes, I can say this, that it totally depends on the last in the hands of the president. I'm not doubting the judicial system. I'm just saying that judicial system performs his duty. It performs its duty. But last,
you talked about judges now. You said that judges judge in the response of their ideologies.
Sorry, this is not, I mean, the way it was clearly stated that there won't be any second counter question. Thanks.
You didn't explain the point clearly. And the time limit wasn't over.
I refuse to answer anymore according to the rules and the regulations.
So the time has exceeded. Guys, remember one thing, that you have 2 minutes from your side to ask the question or to give the answer. So you can estimate according to that. There is no need to ask in between, and you can go with that. So next we have is Jyoti Goswami to ask her question to her opponent.
Okay, so I would like to ask a question with Shubham Jha. May I?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, okay. So, if I'm not wrong, you were strongly against the capital punishment. So, as we have witnessed the destructive and bloody terrorist attacks in India, if we have very recent example, September, in which we got the Mumbai attack, Ajmal Kasab and Yaqub Menon, terrorists like them, even we knew that they cannot be reformed. So my question is, could it be safe to keep these terrorists alive and avoiding the life imprisonment? As we knew that in ancient times, many prisoners were get successful in escaping from prison. Then, if they got escaped, what should be done after finding them out again?
Okay, I understood your question. I was said that there should be. Excuse me, can you please explain your question again? I forgot.
In short, I am repeating my question. That my question was that you are in favor of life imprisonment. So could it be safe to keep these terrorists alive and avoiding life imprisonment? And if they escape, what should be done after finding them out again?
Life imprisonment. I was talking about life imprisonment because I think life imprisonment is equivalent to capital punishment. And life imprisonment, the criminal can develop his personality. And in case of him escaping, if he escaped, then after that process, I am not sure what happened after that. I think he will again arrested or he will again justified, and that's what. Am I clear?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so as you guys have already sorted your discussions, we will have our next person to ask the question is Neerav Kumar. Neerav, you can ask your question.
Nirav had some urgency, so he has left.
Nirav is not there?
No, he has left.
Okay, absolutely no problem is there in that. We'll have Praveen for the next person would be asking the question. Praveen, you can go with your question. Praveen, do you have any question to ask?
Hello.
Yes, Praveen, you are audible. Please go with your question.
I think Praveen is not there. He left.
Okay, might there be any network issue? Will not stop the event. We have the next question.
Hello.
Okay, Praveen, since you have joined, you can ask your question. Please do it with time.
Yes. Yes, my question is to my opponent Akshat that, as he said, does capital punishment is applicable to all cases that you are quoting that eye for an eye and whole world will be blind? Will you please justify this?
Sorry, I can't understand your question. Kindly repeat it or elaborate it. Praveen, am I audible? Hello, Praveen, am I audible?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. What are you asking? Kindly repeat it.
Okay, Praveen, if you're facing any kind of network issue, kindly keep your question for now at pause and we will move ahead. If you want to ask the question, we can have your question at the end. And the next person who would be asking the question is Rudresh. Rudresh, I request you, please ask your question. Okay,
I have no question to ask. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely fine. So the next person that we have after Rudresh is Soumya. Soumya, you can go with your question.
Okay, so I want to ask question from Akash Ranjan. Like you have said that in a civilized society like ours, like death penalty shouldn't be given. So we know that a person has a right to tread on any track. So if that person has committed such an heinous crime, so how can you think that death penalty shouldn't be given to that person? I think it should be given to that person so that, I want to ask you that why shouldn't it be given to that person who has committed such an heinous crime in this civilized society?
Okay, Soumya. So, firstly, I would say that death penalty was given for two reasons. One is to make the society better. Better in terms like when we eliminate that person from the society, the society becomes safer. That is a common sense, like common answer. Okay. So even the life imprisonment does the same thing. And second, while talking about punishment, when it has already not served the purpose, now here comes the alternate. Okay, what can be the alternate where the right to life is also not seized, and at the same time the person is also punished in the same way, not in the same way, like to the same extent to which he has committed the crime, right? So here I would say this is my personal views. Even we see through the cases like Nirbhaya Kant, there was one of the accused who committed suicide. Why did he commit suicide? Because he also felt like with that burden where already he was defamed at that level where the complete world started criticizing him, he found dying was easier for him than living with that burden. So even I feel like death in itself is not even a punishment to that extent. Eliminating a person, okay, that's fine. Life imprisonment will do that thing. Okay, now coming to the punishment, how can he be punished? It's my personal views, may differ from person to person. If we kill a person, simply it does no good to the state. Simply, we just kill a person, that's it. When the person is kept into the prison, he is made to do arduous work or assetful thing for the country, like breaking the rock, working in the mine. Okay, and lastly, I would say that even things like after he dies naturally, his organs can also be donated to the person, 9 people. It is said that a person can give life to 9 people if all the organs are donated. So it's my personal views, but simply killing a person does not serve the purpose. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you everybody. Now we have the next person to ask the question is Shubham Jha. Shubham, you can ask your question.
I have a question from Nigam, but as his network connection is not good, I want to ask a question from Sweta Singh. May I?
Yeah, please.
Sweta Singh, can you please explain what did you mention in your speech about Lord Rama?
Yeah, please repeat. What are you saying?
Can you please explain or repeat what did you mention in your speech about Lord Rama?
Yeah. As we know him as a symbol of dharma, but he also killed Bali as he has stolen his brother's wife. So according to that, capital punishment is all right. That's all I was saying about him.
Okay, did you hear the name Ashwatthama?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lord Krishna didn't kill him. He gave him a punishment which is similar to life imprisonment. So Hindu tradition is contradictory. So we can't say that Hindu tradition proves or Hindu traditions support the view of death punishment.
No, Shubham. I think you don't know that what was the scene behind Ashwatthama's, as Lord Krishna did not give him death punishment. There was another scene behind it, as he was, in Hindi we say that Shrap, he has got that from someone that you can't die. Then I think you don't know the whole story about it. Please check it out.
Yeah, I know. Ashwasthama killed the 5 sons of Pandavas. Was it not a heinous crime?
I think that you don't know the whole story, because what you were saying, na, that Lord Krishna did not kill him. There was a reason behind that. Okay, no one was able to kill him.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Next we have the last, Shweta. Shweta, you can ask your question to anybody whom you like to ask.
Thank you, Abhyant. So my question is for Akash Ranjan. Akash, may I ask the question, please?
Okay.
As you said, in UK, 2 innocents were sentenced to death. Akash, till date, we don't have any case in India as happened in UK. So on which basis you are comparing a death penalty system to UK's death penalty system? And before giving death penalty, our Supreme Court goes through the cases like a tooth comb. So don't you think your statement is not getting fit with context to India?
Okay. So first of all, I would say that while discussing this topic with Abhyant, it was made very clear that it is not only about India. It was about for the global context. It was not limited. Its scope, the scope of the topic was not limited to India. So I spoke with a global context, and even talking about India, I would say that even death penalty, when it is given, okay, it is a very long, arduous process, and even a lot of revenues is even 7 times, I would say, at an average 7 times more government revenue is being invested, I would say, in these long trials, security petitions, appeal and all. So I would just say that I spoke that thing at the global context, and even the topic also refers to the global context, not just limited to India.
I'm not fulfilled with your answer, but as
okay,
as we have the rules, so I can't ask you again. Sorry, and thank you for your answer.
Okay, so as you all have asked a question to the persons whom you people were interested with, now we'd like to move ahead to the third round, which is audience round. Now I would like to request from the persons who are there as an audience who have joined us, if there is any question from any person, they can write their names. I would call their names, and then they can ask their questions to anybody from the participants. So you can go with this. You have 1 minute time to write your name, and if I don't get any name, we'll move ahead with the last part of our event. Okay, Shubham. Yes, Shubham, unmute your mic and ask your question to any individual. First we'll have Shubham, next we'll have you, Raj.
Yes, I have a question for the persons who are against in motion. Can they tell me how death penalty cure the death penalty come over the crime rate? Should I repeat the question?
Shubham, even if you want to, you can ask it individually to one person at a time. Because like this, if nobody answers, what you will do? So in that case, I'll suggest you one help to ask any individual whom you feel fine, and you can go by this.
I think Sweta or Soumya should answer this question.
Okay, Shubham, please ask. I'm ready to answer you.
I asked that does the death penalty prevent crime? Have you any data or anything else to explain this point?
Okay, Shubham. So let me answer you. I never said that death penalty prevent crimes. Okay, I didn't mention it in my speech as well. So what do you want? That a terrorist who killed many people, we should leave him?
No, I didn't say that. I just said
No, I'm answering you. Please listen. If you can do so. I'm saying that you are saying that what death penalty should prevent the crimes. No, it would not. In some cases, it can prevent crimes, but not every time. Okay, I'm okay with that. But then after that, what we should do? We should not give them death penalty because now you people will say life imprisonment is the best option, and after some time, people will say why life imprisonment too, because it's also against the rights of peoples. Now everyone can say that. So I don't think that it's a valid question because death penalty we have written. It's written in our constitution, so I don't think that constitution makers would have not think about that that it's right or not. So we should believe on it. Okay.
The time has been reached.
Okay, Abhin.
Okay. So next person we have from the audience is Yuvraj. Yuvraj, you can ask the question to anybody whom you feel fine.
A very good afternoon to all of you, and I would like to raise a question to Ms. Ayushi Pandey. And as I recall from your speech, you mentioned about the accuracy and the long stage process of Indian Constitution and the Indian judiciary, but still there are many cases where the innocents are falsely convicted and sentenced to death penalty, and this process is irreversible. And I would like to ask about what about the justice of that innocent person?
Yes, Yuvraj, I agree with you, but there's no system that has 100% accuracy. And only 2.5% criminals of the total death row are falsely convicted. And also, if the government function only when the possibility of error didn't exist, then the government wouldn't function at all. This error could also be in the cases of life imprisonment too, that the convict is not able to prove his innocent up to his lifetime.
But what if the innocence of the person who has been sentenced to death penalty has been proved after he has been executed?
You mean? Can you please repeat?
What if the innocence of the person who has been executed has been proved after his execution?
See, as I already mentioned, there are chances of error and only 2.5%. And if the government only saw what is the possibility of error, then any of the law or judicial system won't work because there are errors in every cases, neither just death penalty, but in every cases.
Okay.
Alright, so the next person to ask the question from the audience is Ragini. Ragini, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Abhay. So my question is with Rudresh. You said, Rudresh, any individual can't use death penalty or death penalty never fulfill the personal welfare of any individual. So don't victims of violent crime and their families have a right to justice in the cases which had done in a very brutal manner or in a very grotesque manner? As like in the case of Nirbhaya and in the case of Mahinder Singh versus State of
Nice question, Ragini.
What?
Nice question. Yes, they have a right to be given justice, but for some of these reasons, we cannot make a tradition of giving a death penalty to persons.
Even we can't.
Justice is needed, but some. Yes,
okay,
yes.
So let me complete my question. Even we can't express these heinous cases, then how are you saying that death penalty should be abolished or this is the personal welfare of any individual? You have mentioned about personal welfare.
Yeah. I have mentioned about personal welfare. By which I just mean that many people kill other person just for his personal welfare. That was it meaning, that personal welfare.
I am not satisfied with your answer, but thank you.
Wait, Ragini.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that for some of these reasons or some of these cases, we cannot make a tradition. We just have to plan a different purpose or different justice method for them.
This is not a tradition.
I wanted to say that by making death penalty a case, there could be a high misuse of this. So we need not to bring such a inhumane justice method. Thank you.
Okay, so as you guys have completed it, I would like to request Ashutosh to ask his question. Anybody who feels fine.
Yes, my question is for them who is against the death penalty. That the Lord Krishna killed Shishupal after his 100 falls were. So why Lord Krishna did so? Why he is not? Why he did not give him cuts for living the life, his whole life in earth like a Suthama? So anybody who is against demotion.
This question will be for the motion, I think. Those who are against death penalty, right? Those who say that death penalty should be abolished, for them I think this question is there.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you repeat the question? It was not clear to me.
That Lord Krishna killed Shishupal after his 100 falls were. So why he did so? Why he did not give him cuts to live in earth for his whole life?
First of all, I'm not aware about this fact, but I would say that if there is any judicial system existed in those times, then certainly after the trial, there should have been some better option, right? Even from the earlier days also, the system is improving and there were even more stricter punishments in those days. So these days we are leaving those like those punishment, and there are more efficient ways. And I would say in those days it was just like a war-like situation, right? So in those days it was in war, obviously there is no trial and everything. So I'm not aware about this fact, but yes, in those days when there used to be wars among different kings, so in war, how there will be trial.
Okay, so the time limit has exceeded. Now the next person. Now the next person to ask the question from the audience is Pragya. Pragya, you can go with your question.
My question is to Shweta, who was in favor of death penalty. As we all know and we have heard that we should hate the sinner. We should hate the sin.
Pragya, I was not in favor. I was against it.
No, you were in favor of death penalty and against the motion that it should be abolished, right?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yes, so
please repeat.
You were in favor of death penalty, right?
Yeah. I was saying that it should be exist.
Yeah. So as we all know and we have heard that we should hate the sin and not the sinner, right? Here, if death penalty is rewarded to someone, don't you think that it's immoral? What will happen to their family or someone who was totally dependent on them?
Nice question, but I think it's not that much logical. Okay, so let me answer you. Pragya, you said that it's immoral, okay?
Yes.
Means killing someone is not immoral, but getting punishment is immoral. Means what a contradiction.
Both are immoral, but this isn't the solution, right?
Okay, I understood your question. Now let me answer you, Pragya. So you want to say that it's immoral to give death penalty or sentence to death, okay? How it could be, means I don't know what are you thinking, but if a person had killed someone, means you are thinking about the criminal's family, but you are not thinking about the victim's family. How they will get...
As thinking about both, but just think about the person who has not committed the sin and still they have to like bear the consequences.
Means what you want to say? That if someone has not committed the crime and then also he is getting the punishment.
Like their family, their children, or their friends, not their friends, but their...
Okay, 1 minute. I can understand, okay. What you are saying, I understand that. But we are giving punishment to that individual who has committed the crime. And I think it's all right, okay. And if you are saying that what happened with his family, so listen one thing. If the criminal does not think about the family of victims, I'm not saying that we should also be like the criminals. But listen one thing, Indian court does not give death penalty to everyone, okay. They give death penalty to just few of them who really deserves it. Means not everyone getting it. So I think it's all right.
Reached. Thank you.
Okay, Adam. Okay.
Thank you for your answer, Shweta.
Okay, the next person we have from the audience is Disha. Disha, you can go with your question.
Okay, so first of all, my question is to Akshay Pratap Singh and to Akash Ranjan also, like anyone of them can answer me, because they both were for the motion that death penalty should be abolished. Okay, so as we know that there are a large number of cases in India of rape, of sexual harassment, of culpable homicide amounting to murder, and many more. But we also know that only a small number of them get death penalty. Okay, what I think that those which are considered brutal, those who are considered of extreme level, are only awarded with death penalty. Okay, so as you both and the people who are for the motion mentioned that you can't separate rare cases from normal one, as you can't say that which of the case is a rare one and which is the normal one. Okay, so I'm just saying that we can't compare theft with Dakati with murder. We cannot compare genocide with riots. We can't compare sexual harassment with gang rape with murder. Okay, so can you both, one of them, can you please tell me that how can you say that those small number which were considered brutal are given death penalty on the basis of prejudice or the philosophy of that judge, or their mercy petition is just rejected because the mentality of that president or that bench?
Okay, I got your question. So can I answer?
Yes.
Okay. So firstly, I would say that I'm not against the strict punishment. Okay. And I'm only against death penalty because it is something which is irreversible. There are chances that innocence can be... Okay, those things I'm not going to repeat. Those things I've already said. Now, when I'm saying that, I'm also not saying that those culprits should be free. Okay. There are strict punishment even apart from death penalty. Like there has to be strict imprisonment. And I think it is even more strict than death penalty. See, if a person is kept in a prison for lifetime, when he is made to do arduous work like working in a mine, breaking the rocks, then other things as well. And on the other hand,
can I answer?
Okay, listen. Let me complete. So it is something like, and even within the jail itself, there has to be restriction on his freedom, restriction in his movement. Okay, so it is something like, it is not a simple life imprisonment, it is a strict life imprisonment. And even I said no, after there are other things as well introduced. Those are my personal views. I already said, related to organ donation after he dies naturally. Okay, that is the thing he can compensate for. But just killing a person is just about quenching the thirst for vengeance. It is about tit for tat. But doing about the justice, what he has done, he has to compensate for that. And it is about prayashchit. Prayashchit kaise kare? He has to live in this world and do the prayashchit in this world only. How it will happen? Okay, this is my personal view. Okay, you tell me.
Time has reached. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Disha. Thank you, Akash. All right. So, all the 3 rounds have been completed. Just give me some few seconds to move move further. The question and in case of the person who was answering the question. So now the last stage is that we will invite ma'am to highlight some of the points on this topic or share what her opinion onto this particular topic, and after that we'll have the calculations of the results. So I would like to invite ma'am.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to congratulate each and every person, it be from participant or from the audience. You guys did a really, really good job. It was wonderful listening to you all. You all had valid points in your own views. And also this topic is really such a topic that keeping a balanced view in this topic is quite a tedious task because, you know, it is more personal than of legal matter, and the views on this topic can differ from person to person, as it is, you know, a topic which is close to someone's mind, someone's personal experience and societal norms as well. I would like to highlight the key point on this topic by saying that death penalty should be abolished or not actually depends on the people of the country, on the people of the state. It is to be decided according to the people and not according to the leader or according to the severity of the, you know, of the crime. It is actually according to the people. Are people, are the citizens ready for seeing that death penalty, or are people not at all ready for seeing that death penalty, no matter what level of crime has been done by the, you know, culprit? So basically, all that rests is according to the conscience, according to the political culture of the people, as well as the mental state of the people of that country, of that territory, and everything. I would not like to say that, okay, removing death penalty is the only solution, or choosing death penalty is only the solution. It is again, you know, very, very personal matter at the both levels, at the government level and at the personal level. But I would really like to congratulate everyone because you had a very, very balanced approach in your answer, in your views, in your, you know, thoughts. And the people who were asking questions were also very, very good, excellent at their own thoughts. The contradiction between the two, you know, wings, the favor and the against wing was very, very much balanced. Also, the patience level of the participants was really, I am really encouraging and, you know, congratulating for your patience level. And everything, the, you know, whole event was very, very good. I didn't skip even 10 seconds of this event because I was really enjoying. I was enjoying how students like you, I mean, you really are small children. You are just in your graduation days, and yet you have decided to, you know, start a debate competition and at your own level, deciding your own topic and just, you know, I mean, discussing your views on this topic. This is really, really appreciated, and you all will really remember this time when you will look back to your college days after your college is over, or maybe you are placed at some good place. And of course, I'm sure you all will be placed at a very good place. All your dreams will come true, and really, really, I'm blessed to, you know, hear to such an event. That was really good. And Abhiyan, congratulations to you too for organizing such an event. How peacefully you managed the whole event, how good you hosted the event and everything. And every participant were good in their own views. Also, being a judge, I would like to say that judging this event is one of the hardest tasks anyone can do. I mean, making me judge of this event, you have just given me the hugest task of my whole life, because everyone was very good. It was very easy. It was very difficult to, you know, choose who is better than the other, because everyone was very good. Yet, since I'm the judge, I have to, allot marks to you students. And yes, I have allotted some marks to you students, but please mention and keep this in your mind that all that is important is participation and not winning or losing, because at least you participated. Haven't you participated, there would have been no chance of winning this competition. The people who didn't participated have not even a 0.1% chance to win, but the people who participated have at least chance to win. So yes, participation is very, very much necessary. Of course, winning and losing increases or maybe decrease your morale, but please do not do that. You are small kids. The whole life is ahead of you. You must encourage the fact that you got to learn so many things from the session. You improved your communication skills. You obviously boosted up your confidence, and just try and extract good points and positive vibes only from this session. Thank you for now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And first of all, I would like to thanks everybody from the persons of the audience, ma'am, and every of my fellow mates, my college batchmates, for being so hostile towards me and the decision of organizing this event. So the last step is to have our winners, and for that I would like to give ma'am her time as much as she wants to calculate the results, and then we'll end the event. So ma'am, you're having your time, and then we'll come on to the winner announcement.
Okay, Abhiyan, I've already allotted the marks. I've just to total of the marks, and just give me 2 minutes. I'll be here with the results.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the wait is over and I'm up with the results. And first of all, I would like to repeat once again, please do not take it, on your hearts. I'm just announcing the results, and also to let you all know that there is difference of 0.5 marks or 1 marks maximum between every participant. So you all are very close to each other in the marking scheme, and you all did very, very good job. I would like to congratulate the winners and the runners up, and also the participants who took part actively in the event. So now here's the result. I would like to announce with the runners up first of all. So the second runner up of the event, it is actually a tie, and there is a tie between Soumya Dubey and Akash Ranjan. So very, very congratulations to you both. You spoke really, really well.
Thank you, ma'am.
And coming to the position of first runner-up, the first runner-up of the event is Shweta Singh. Well done, Shweta. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And the final one, the first position holder or the winner of this debate competition is again a tie between two people, because I was really confused whom to give prize, because they both were equally well. And there is a tie, and we have two winners of this event, and the name of the two winners of this event is Akshay Pratap Singh and Ayushi Pandey. Very, very congratulations to you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so very well done, everyone. Everyone was very, very good in their speech, in their presentation, in their presentation skills, and of course, their confidence. Confidence was the key to this event, and I have really appreciated those who, sounded confident in their views, because obviously views are personal. Your views can match with mine. My views cannot match with yours. Of course, views can differ, but what is important in any debate competition is your pronunciation, is your confidence, and is your presentation, way of speaking. It is all about these things. So always keep in mind there are many competitions ahead of you. Kindly keep this in mind, and you will excel in all those competitions. And to all those who have not managed to, get the position, I mean, I can only say the position. You have many opportunities ahead of you. You all guys have done very, very well, and good luck to you guys too. Thank you so much, everyone.
Right. Thank you, ma'am, and a very heartiest congratulations to every of the winner, the runner-up especially, and all the participants, those who have participated with great enthusiasm, because nobody can find like lack of interest in anybody. You all seem very interested. You all seem very enthusiastic in your way. And even I was very much obliged to the opinions, because my mind has now been filled with a lot of different opinions, diversified thoughts, views, and most importantly, the information and the knowledge. So with this, we have come to the end of the debate. This was the edition first. We will soon organize the edition second as well. Those who could not participate with any of the reason, they can participate in the edition second. So with this, thank you everyone, and keep progressing, keep growing. So have a very nice day ahead. We can start leaving one by one.
Happy Teachers Day, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.